Rafael and Juanita. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. We'll talk to experts and business leaders. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Juanita Cap is a public speaker who was in the ministry for 15 years. She has extensive knowledge of various topics such as leadership and communication, and has emceed many executive and academic events. Juanita is the founder of 2 unique shows. Her life motto is never give up.
Juanita, how are you on this beautiful Friday?
Sifu, it's so wonderful to see you. And may I just say, you are rocking that jacket. So beautiful. I love it. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Exceptional, getting better every day. But I wanted to celebrate summer because here in the U.S., we are celebrating summer. It just started. I know you have a scarf and a hat, but you're so warm anyway. Even if the weather outside is cold. Right. I want to tell you, I'm super excited for today's show. We have 2 incredible guests. Why don't we go ahead and bring them on? Absolutely. Let's bring on Noemi and Manuj. What an incredible day it is to have both of you sharing the stage with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me today, Rafael and Juanita. Such an honor.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So do us all a favor. At one point in the private chat, just put your contact information so we can share it with the world. We today want to talk about AI, but we also want to talk about podcasting and how both of those worlds are coming together, right? So why don't we start with Manuj, because you are beyond an expert in this field of AI. AI is taking over the world. Not really, right? Or is it?
Well, actually, it is. It has already taken over the world. A lot of people don't realize it. But if we look around, we just have to take out our smartphone from our pocket. Everything on that device is already controlled by AI, already optimized by AI. This video recording that we are doing, it actually is being optimized through AI. So AI is all around us already. And now with the platforms like ChatGPT, what has happened is like AI has become more accessible. It has become democratized. So everybody, whether they have technical background or not, they can use AI and see what it means for them, for their business, for their lives, for their communities. So yes, AI is taking over the world, and I think it is going to continue, making more and more changes in our world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Incredible that you pointed out what we all did not see. It's so obvious. I take out my phone and AI is part of it. What? And none of us thought, oh yeah, I don't understand it, but you are already understanding it, because the minute you get on your phone, AI is making it possible to connect, right? So AI is part of connections.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been using it for since the smartphones came out, like Apple iPhone came out in 2007 or something along those lines. So pretty much everybody has been using AI for a long time.
And so it's taking over the world. Can we stop it?
Well, once the genie is out of the bottle, I don't think it's even at the human mind level. Once your mind expands, it's very difficult to shrink it back, right? So even if you ban a particular platform, or you can say, oh, I'm not going to allow you to use it, now that the possibilities out there, now people understand this technology, another alternative will come up or something along those lines. So once the genie is out of the bottle, it's very difficult to put it back.
We can't coerce it. I'm just kidding. Come on, come back in. So, but what we should do is embrace it, right?
Absolutely. um, I mean, that is part of evolution doesn't go back, right? Like if we don't
Mm,
move forward along with evolution, we will be left behind. And people who embrace the technology, they move forward, right? So and this is not just AI. This is starting from the invention of the lever, from by the caveman who wanted to kill a large animal. So if they did not adopt technology, then they'll have to hunt every day for small animals or fruits or vegetables or whatnot. So uh, starting from that invention, uh, once evolution has given us the ability to make our life more convenient and easy, we have to adopt it. And then, because this solves real problems as well, right?
mm, it
Yeah.
does. It does. Let me ask you one more question, then we're going to bring Naomi on as well. Should we be afraid that AI is going to take away my job?
Well, see, it's a difficult question, but I will answer in this way. One is that AI is not going to take away anybody's job. A person who understands and embraces AI will take away their job. So it's like saying that, in the 1990s, if I ask somebody, hey, do you need a email address or a website? And the typical response will be, I have my landline, I have my yellow pages, I don't think I need anything else, right? And today, if you apply even for an entry level job and you say, oh, I don't have any email address, my phone is listed in the white pages, like how far do you think you'll get, right? So that's the idea that AI, and you don't have to be like an AI scientist, inventing new algorithms or anything. It's just you have to be able to use it. You have to be able to understand how to be more productive using this technology.
Well, I love that answer. I love it.
Mm.
Because when we think about the basics, right? That is the basics.
Yeah.
Do you know, I had a client of mine who literally said to me, I don't have a bank account and I don't have an email address. And I said, well, it was nice knowing you, but
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult for us to communicate. It's going to be difficult for you to pay me, and I can't keep chasing you
Yeah.
constantly to say, where's my cash? Where's my cash?
Yeah.
Where's my cash? So even we have to even consider what Bitcoin is doing, and even some that's a whole nother can of worms. Let's leave that
Mhm.
one alone for a minute.
Yeah.
So Naomi, who happens to be an expert as a podcaster, as someone who connects people in the podcasting world, how can we start using AI to benefit either a guest or a host?
I'm going to talk about, the guest angle because that's what I know more about, obviously.
Sure.
And what I did research is because obviously AI is just getting so important in everyone's life. So, we have to use it as podcast agents too. And what I noticed that AI can play like a very supportive role in enhancing podcast guesting experiences in many different ways. One of the ways is research and topic preparation. So basically, AI can assist podcast guests by providing extensive research on the podcast theme or specific topics of discussion. So, which is brilliant because it will save you time and energy. So you don't have to go through it all on your mind, and it can get a relevant information from a wide range of sources. So it is a huge help for everyone. So it's saving us valuable time and effort while we're preparing for a podcast interview. But it's also the second most important things as a supportive role is content suggestions and talking points, because sometimes it's so hard when you are a guest and clients come to us and okay, so I ask them, can you give us like 3 topics with a couple of talking points to start the conversation with us, and they have no idea what to do. So they're just sending me like a paragraph with all the stuff they want to talk about, but that's too much for a host. So we just have to, break it down to smaller, like more digestible talking points. So AI can generate these suggestions for engaging talking points, even suggested questions or subtopics based on the guest expertise and then on the podcast focus. So again, this is a huge time saving and energy saving angle of using AI in podcast guesting. So it will ensure that you have a smooth conversation with the host. And there are many other points as well, like we can talk about, like, for example, speech analysis. I just came across this and I was fascinated by it, because there are AI powered tools that can analyze your speech, like patterns, vocal delivery, and presentation style, to provide feedback on clarity, pacing, and overall speaking experiment, so people can understand you better and you can improve yourself. So I think, like, using AI is just like a huge learning curve. It's like we start to learn things again from a different point of view. And for me, it's really fascinating. I was growing up in the 80s, 90s. So, and we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have internet. And now with AI opening up for us, it's just, wow. Like, even for me, the mobile phone was a big step, when it was introduced to us. But now AI, and yeah, it's pretty fascinating. But it can also help you, for example, language and grammar check. Because I can see that sometimes people come to us with these topics and bio, and it's full of grammatical errors. So they don't use Grammarly, for example. That's an AI-powered tool as well. So you have to use it. I mean, I use it too whenever I write anything and to anyone, and it just helps you to express yourself more professionally and better. And yeah, so these language and grammar check AI tools can, like, suggesting, like, basically they improve the way you communicate with people. And this helps guests communicate their ideas more effectively. So I love that too. So there's so many things we can use it for podcast guesting as well.
Yeah. Juanita, I know you have 1,000 questions, so go for it.
I have some statements, because I absolutely loved what our guests were saying here, and I agree. I completely agree with Sifu and Manuj. Change is the only constant. We know that the only thing that stays the same is that everything's going to change. And if we don't keep up that pace, if we don't go with the flow, we are going to fall behind. And what I love about AI is it makes communication so much easier. It really, like Manush talked about, expanding our minds. It's also assisting us in that, and it really makes communication easier in a global fashion. And that helps us to actually go from strength to strength, to actually develop the ideas that we have. It's really a facilitator for growth, facilitator for our human race to become, more than it can be, everything that we aspire. But I do realize there are going to be some people that will always have that fear and anxiety that AI is going to take over. It's a reality. We are going to have to deal with that. And that's why I love our conversation here, because we have experts that can really answer the questions that people have and really put them at rest. Like Naomi said, AI is to be used as a tool. It streamlines, it automates, it assists us in various ways to make our lives easier and better. So I don't think it's a negative thing at all. And I believe that there are governing bodies that are, overlooking what AI is capable and allowed to do. So, we have to embrace it. Let's embrace that change so that we can further our human race and deal with the obstacles that we are facing.
Mm-hmm. We're always going to face people who don't embrace change. Look, I get a pamphlet from my local library. They're still teaching how to open up a computer. They're still teaching Microsoft 101, so Word 101. So even the super basics thing, because there's still a lot of people out there who don't even own a computer, which is kind of rare nowadays, because I think I have like 10 computers, so for me, computing is just, it's a tool. And like you said it, and Manuj, you've created 4 patents, and I know you're constantly working and developing and figuring things out. How fast are these things coming out nowadays compared to even 5 years ago?
Well, now see what is happening. We are getting into like an exponential growth here, where it's like a hockey stick, because what is happening is uh, AI is at a point where we can ask AI to invent new things. So it is inventing new things over new things over new things. So the rate of change is just exploding. Right now, I think 5 years ago, you will hear like a new platform coming out maybe once a week or something along like prominent platform. Now I think the estimate is like 1,000 new platforms come out every day. So it's just very very difficult to keep up. So it's an exciting field, but dizzyingly fast field. Now I'll say one thing: we have only scratched the surface. Like we talk about content and grammar and things like that. So that is the first level of implementation of AI. That is where we are. It is helping us, uh, as an easy and low hanging fruit, right? But as we have said, the power of this technology is enormous to solve big problems like find cure for cancer, solve climate change. These kind of things haven't even started to show up in the world yet, but a lot of smart people are working on these kind of problems as well. So you will start to see an explosion of like very impactful solutions in a year or 2 year, where you'll see major breakthroughs in healthcare, education, so many things because of AI.
Mm. Back in the late 80s, I flew an F-16 simulator,
Mhm, mhm,
and I was not supposed to fly it, by the way. Shh. It was at the
mhm,
time, it would have cost $10,000 to fly it, and I
mhm,
got to fly it for double the time. So I would have had to spend 20 grand,
mhm.
and it was only available to the military,
Nice.
unless you were like a contractor in the military.
Mhm, mhm,
And what an incredible adventure I had, because not only did I crash so many times,
mhm,
but it felt like I was really flying it. I felt like I was flying in Arizona. I felt like I was flying over the
mhm,
oceans.
mhm,
It, it, I was even able to shoot things.
mhm,
It was incredible. So back then in the late 80s, they were using AI to give me that simulation as if I was truly in that plane. So everything and the controls, I had to control it as if I was truly flying, and that's why I crashed so many times, because I didn't know how
mhm,
to fly it. I just, they gave me a quick lesson, a 10-minute lesson, and they said, "Good luck," right?
mhm,
But that experience will last a lifetime for me. And the person who gave it to me was a captain who designed this person, my friend's wife. She designed the lasers in the helmet that wherever the eyes moved, so did the guns,
Wow.
which was really incredible, because back then you would have to, you're flying your plane, you have to look over here, you have to look over there, your head is tilting. Now all you have to do is turn your eye. You turn your eye and the guns move with your eyes, which, if you think about it, that's beyond. And this was back in the 1980s.
mhm.
So can you imagine the technology
Yes.
now that is happening even in aeronautics, right? Think of NASA, think of SpaceX,
Yeah.
think of a Tesla.
Incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, companies that you mentioned, they're in fact becoming AI and data companies. So, SpaceX, Tesla, uh, everything in those companies is measured, is analyzed, and pretty much I tell people that Tesla is actually not a car company; it is actually an AI company,
Mm.
and so is SpaceX, and so is Amazon, so is Facebook. So all of these giants, they have become giants because of AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So Juanita travels so much,
Mm.
and I'm sure when she's up flying, she is grateful for AI. I mean, she sees the pilot coming in and out, but the pilot might fall asleep if it's a long flight, and who takes over, right? AI, right?
Yeah, I'm very grateful. I absolutely love my flights, and I really believe that the positive additions that AI bring to our lives, people don't realize it because they're not confronted with this every day, and nobody really. There's only a few people, a handful of people that will actually go do the research before making assumptions. So I strongly suggest to the audience, go and do your research. There's so many beautiful examples, like Sifu has talked now about the plane. Manush has talked about Facebook and Tesla and all these other companies that we make use of, that are actually using AI. Go and do the research before formulating that opinion and see. And it's always just good to keep a lookout on the latest publications and to keep on top of the newest information.
Yeah, yeah. So when we think about communication, how is AI being used by the government to think about different governments, right? How are they using AI to intercept, if you will, private communication? Because that's a scary, scary subject, if you will.
Well, I mean, we can only speculate from what the news and what the guy, what's his name, who the whistleblower who went to Russia now.
Hmm. Ed,
Uh,
right?
yeah, Snowden.
Yeah.
um, but even without speculation, like, you can see, um, the internet, the data that we produce, our mobile devices, our electronic watches, all of them are connected to one internet, right? And on the internet, a lot of data is public. A lot of people don't realize that, um, it's like um, it's like throwing your most prized possessions in the street and saying, okay, um, like, don't please take it. I'm just putting it in the middle of the street. Don't take it. um, and when you are in the public arena and your information is public, anybody can take it. But also, having worked in some large systems, in healthcare and education, there's always it's like a river flowing into an ocean, right? So, your device, your phone, is producing data that is connected to a bigger system, which is connected to another bigger system, which is connected to another bigger system, and the overall system is obviously controlled by the government. There are, uh, very thick, fiber optic lines that connect continent to continent, and that is how our world is connected. And
Mm.
these fiber optic lines sit at the bottom of the ocean. Now, multiple stories you've heard that there are huge data centers where these fiber optic lines are, they end into, North America, and all the data that is crossing the boundary is is freely available for the US government to do whatever you want. So, like, anything that you have put out there on the internet, you know even one single letter can be intercepted, and most likely is intercepted. So, this is something we have to really assume whatever is on the internet is in the public eye.
Mm. And could be
Yeah.
used in court against you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that goes without saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why it's be careful when you do a text or an email.
Yes.
Be careful what you put out there, because none of it, even though you send it privately, it's not private, right?
Yeah.
So, Naomi, when we think about podcasting, and Manuj, you talked to me the other day and you said you were on how many shows recently?
This is like, I think, 70th in the last 2 months.
So he is a very active young man, and this is really, you're a live person, right? Can I pinch you? He's not an
Yeah.
AI algorithm, by the way.
Yeah.
He is a
Yeah.
real human being. And I was kidding with him, and I said, "Oh, with AI, you can do 1,000 podcasts a week,
Yeah.
because you could throw your image out there, your voice, everything." We're not there yet, right? But is that
I think maybe give it a year. I think we will be there.
so? A lot of AI clients are going to be coming to Naomi and going, "Please make me sound more human." Right?
I actually had a friend, a podcast host friend, and he just I just listened to one of his interviews, and this was with how do you call it? I can't remember. Probably Manuj, you know that better than me. The one that you can talk to about anything. It's and basically he did that interview with the PI or something. Yes, the PI. That was the PI. And you just basically ask questions, and you can have like a proper conversation with someone. And he did 3 interviews with the PI, and just answered the questions.
Oh,
It was such an intelligent conversation that you can ever have. So that was like the perfect podcast guest. It even asked, I don't know, he, she, them, they, or they asked questions from the host. So it wasn't like a one-sided conversation, but it was just beautiful. And I was gobsmacked when I was listening to it. It was like, wow, is this the future? We just,
interesting.
ask these AI things to get on your podcast, and you just have a conversation about anything. And so I tried it for my own, just to just have fun. And I was talking about Jane Eyre's books and the books I read and the film version of that, and we just had like a conversation for an hour. And it was like I couldn't even have that with my own friends because they don't have that knowledge about books and films. So it was interesting.
Wow, that makes me a little bit afraid that a lot of people are going to stay home and not go out and socialize,
Yeah.
because I think as humans, and Juanita, you can attest to this, even in the Bible, it says that we were not meant to be alone.
Yeah.
That
That's the truth.
we need that human connection, right?
Mm.
So I hope that AI says, after an hour of talking to you, says, "Hey, go outside and meet some people."
Please.
Yes,
Please go.
go out there and socialize with real humans. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts
It's
on what we're talking about, overall? If you're listening to us, make some comments. If you're listening to the replay, hit hashtag. Let us know what you think of this conversation so far. I'm loving it, because we are talking about technology that
yeah.
is it's happening, it's gonna get more, but also how we can come in and do that human connection, which is what Naomi does. She connects people through her business podcast connections. So keeping the connections real, I think, is one of the best things that we can do in order to have sanity in our lives. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Absolutely. And for me, like human connection is just so important, especially when you network a lot, because networking is kind of base of doing guesting as well. So you really need to get your story out there, and you really need to need those personal stories. Otherwise, you lose that human connection with other people. So, and when you want to share your story, obviously you can't share like a text generated by ChatGPT. So you need to own your story, and need to share that with the world, and that's really personal, and you can't replace that.
Mm,
So I think
yeah,
that's important.
absolutely. Manuj, I'm just curious on your thought.
Yeah, I mean, see, human connection is what is the fundamental need for all of us. I think what is happening is that need for human connection is being morphed into like um, a mix of physical and virtual connection. A lot of new technologies, like even right now we are connecting, right? Like um, without technology we would have never connected in real life scenario. So this is a virtual connection, and now we know each other. Let's say we run into each other in a conference, we will now extend our virtual connection into a physical connection. So as technology develop, I believe we are moving towards this this era where we will not be able to distinguish between the virtual and the physical. And you may have seen all of this stuff in science fiction movies or Star Trek or what have you. And the funny thing is, a lot of these inventions that we used to see in the 60s and 70s, we used to dream about them, whether they'll come true. And slowly you see that as the future is unraveling, a lot of those inventions are coming true. The cell phones, and now with AI and all of that stuff. So that virtual and physical connection, I mean, that's the holy grail of what we are all shooting for, where I can just reach out into the metaverse and say, okay, this is the person I want to talk to today. Whether they are uh, whether they are next door or 1,000 miles away, and in some cases they may even be no longer alive, and we can interact with them. And that's the world that is something out of imagination, but it is coming to reality very, very quickly.
Okay, I want Einstein as my coach. So
Mhm.
I want that to happen.
Uh,
Who else would I want as a coach? Let's see. I'm just kidding. But yes, when we consider what is happening, that we can actually have a conversation with even a made up person or a person who has passed. So, wow, involving technology, involving human connections. You talked about that we may not be able to differentiate between them. There's a phenomenon that's happening in Japan. I
mhm,
don't know if you know about it, but there's these men in their 40s and 50s who've never left their parents' house
mm,
because they lock themselves up in their room. They
mm,
play all these video games. The parents take care of them. And the problem that's happening is the parents are now dying. So now these men who don't know how to work, don't know how to cook, don't know how to take care of themselves, probably don't even know how to get an Uber or have they haven't left their house. Probably their parents even cut their own hair, or maybe they have
mm,
just long hair, whatnot. But what craziness that the parents even allowed that to happen. That is a phenomenon that's happening in Japan. It may also happen in your backyard. How many 30, 40-year-olds are living in their parents' basements? I'm curious.
yeah,
Scary,
yeah,
scary.
yeah.
But so AI is only going to facilitate that more, isn't it? So there is a detriment to AI
Yes.
when it's used in the wrong way. But when it's used in the right way, wow, wow, it is incredible.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Sifo. I saw in the years in the ministry how society has started to change as technology has developed. We used to take the youth through the youth years, have them as young adults. They would be in their 20 somethings, they would marry, they would go and have their careers, they would have their kids. It was a certain type of person that would be in the young adults group. And as the years passed, we realized that all of a sudden there were more single, young adults coming. They didn't really want to marry. They didn't really want to work, and many of them were still living with their parents. So the whole dynamic has changed. They didn't want to do the relationship thing anymore. It was a dynamic, it was a situationship because of technology that has changed our world so much. So there's always a negative side to things as well. I believe with you, I agree with you, Sifu, 100%. We are made to connect. We are made to communicate effectively, and then connect. And we have to be in physical spaces with each other. It's very interesting what Manuj said. Manuj, you actually put something, in my mind when you were speaking. I was thinking
Who- We lost
also
him.
energy,
Oh, there he is. We
spirit,
lost you for a sec.
energy
Can you
is
say that
very, very
again, Juanita? We lost you for a second. We lost you for a second.
thank
AI
you.
didn't do its job right
Yeah,
there. Boom. AI, bring it in. Bring it in. Bring me
boom.
Juanita.
Come on, AI. So we are not just body, soul, and spirit, but there's a lot of energy connected to those parts of us. And that's how AI is able to do a lot of things that it's doing. So this is such a phenomenal subject. I think we can do 10 podcasts on this. And like Manu said, we wouldn't even have scratched the surface because there's so many components and so many moving parts. I'm absolutely loving this conversation.
Yeah. You know, Manoj and I did an episode on Coaching Call, and it was he had to go, but guess what? We're doing another one. So make sure you tune into that one. But
Yay!
here we have a question from our audience. So Alice Brown, hey guys, I'm a copywriter from Cornwall, England. How exactly is everyone using AI for long form content and also day-to-day running of your business? Thank you. Thank you for that question. Obviously, we're going to start with Manoj, if you don't mind.
See, long form content. I mean, ever since ChatGPT has been released, everyone is using ChatGPT for creating content. I will just say one thing: like having a tool doesn't mean that you are really good at it. Still need to practice. If you buy a car, you don't become a Formula One winner. It's not the tool that wins the race. It's the driver. So the experiences that people have, the the pain that they have gone through life, that is what is reflected in long form content. The personality, as Juanita was saying, like energy, your personality, your core values, all of these things need to reflect to actually create content that connects with people. Otherwise we can just ask ChatGPT to produce tons and tons of content. Is not going to really make a difference, because people don't realize it, that when we publish the content, where are we going to publish it? On the internet, which is all controlled by AI. So it is going to be AI talking to AI. What is the use of that, right?
Mm,
This is absolutely no use. So if you want to use a content AI for content, make sure you put in that your personality into that, because that is what is going to connect you as a human being with another human being. Um, and 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 in terms of day-to-day running of business, what we do with our clients is we say, okay, let's look at your use cases, let's look at your company, your industry. Where are you spending most of your time? Where is the low hanging fruit? Because we cannot, this is such a vast technology, we cannot boil the ocean in one day. So we have to take one step at a time. We can say, okay, is your so we were working with a real estate group, and we found out that 80% of their time was going into internal communication. So that's a huge amount of time that can be reduced by AI. I was on a podcast with a neurosurgeon, and for them it was data entry for every visit that they had with the patient. So if that can be automated, the surprising fact that this neurosurgeon shared with me, for every 1 hour of the patient care they provide to the patient, they have to they have to consume 2 hours of data entry to just record what happened. So if we can reduce that burden of data entry from the neurosurgeon, imagine how much more patient care they can provide. So it's always like a more sort of a personalized approach in operating your business. Just look at what what is taking most of the time, and focus on automating that process.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So, Juanita, you are a world traveler. You're a public speaker. You are all over the world, literally speaking. How do you? We know that Alice said that they're copyright, they're copywriter. So, how do you come up with your content as a public speaker? I know how I come up with mine. I'm inspired by everything I read. And then like Manuj was saying, I put my own feelings, my own experiences into when I do public speaking because I don't want to read something that someone else wrote, right? Because
Yeah.
guess what? It's going to come off fake, right? So I know that you probably do something similar because it has to be internalized as well. If you don't mind sharing with us how you go all over the world and talk on different stages, and that may help Alice Brown as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was an impeccable question. I was at a conference in St. Louis in March, and they actually spoke about Chat GPT and everything that it does, and people just give a topic and then it puts out a whole story. I am not able to do speeches like that. I was in the ministry for 15 years. I rely on my prayer, I rely on my intuition, I rely on my meditation, the downloads that I get, because I feel when I'm speaking, it must be something that's from my heart. It must be something that's emotionally attached to me that I can put out into the audience. I can hold that space, hold that energy for the audience so that they can relate to what I'm saying, so that they're more open and receptive. So for me, I'm sure it's a wonderful tool. I know there's authors that are using it. I agree with Manuj. If you want to use it for the framework, that's fine. But put your own personality, your own experiences in as well. I'm old school in that fashion. I use AI for other things. I use platforms, the social media platforms, which I love. But when it comes to speech writing or even putting a sermon together when I'm going to speak or when I'm going to deliver a message, it has to come from my heart. It has to be
Mm.
something I relate to, because I know we are all humans and there are topics that are relatable to others. And I really feel when we bring that personal experience in, when we share that story, we really do that connecting. And that's what I love to do. I want to connect with people, and we share and we learn from each other. Even in public speaking, to me, it's not always just a monologue. It's something that, when you put that message out there, that energy of the audience speaks back to you and also edifies you.
Hmm. Definitely. Thank you for that. Thank you. Totally agree. Naomi, your thoughts?
Well, I think everything was said that has to be said. But definitely, I just have to emphasize that, like, feelings, emotions, I mean, that we have, and obviously AI, it doesn't have it. So that has to reflect through our stories and through our message. So that's pretty important, and
Mm.
yeah, it has to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I've always said, and I'll continue to say it until I'm proven otherwise, that we are the most complex computer there ever is. And no
Yes.
one so far has been able to duplicate what we have, the thought patterns, the feelings, all of these things.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? Manoj, you think by next year someone will be able to be me?
I don't think we will get to that point just as yet. Like, especially, I believe machines will be able to enhance or exceed our IQ. I think they'll become more intelligent, but I don't think they will be able to touch. Even scratch the surface of the EQ side, like the emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
Um, the reason why I say that is because in uh, machines are basically just algorithms. They are just working on a piece of code. Now, if I want to plant an emotion in somebody, like, I believe emotions are a result of generational evolution. Generations of people, they are suppressed, and that's when they become jealous, that's when they become ambitious. Generations of people are raised in a loving environment. That's how they become good people who are willing to give to other people. um, in order for some computer scientists to understand what emotion is and then convert it into an algorithm and then plant it into an AI is such a bizarre thing to me, because once you understand what these things are, it's very difficult to even explain in words, let alone create an algorithm and test it out. So from that perspective, I don't think that emotions will be part of the AI movement. I think it'll be only the actual intelligence, just learning about the patterns and gaining the knowledge, that will be the realm of machines.
Mm, thank you, thank you, and I hope Alice Brown. I hope that I think that everyone here was able to answer your question. And if we didn't, go ask AI. I'm just kidding. But when we think about the platforms and everything that is happening in the world today, it all we have to give credit to people like Manuj, who are making this world just that much brighter. If we can embrace and understand, we may never fully understand, because guess what? Tomorrow is going to be new technology coming out, but we can do our best to embrace it. I think we're going to be winners in the long run. So,
Most definitely.
Juanita, you know what time it is, right? I know
It's
it's so sad.
time.
It's so sad because I'm loving this conversation. Manuj, Naomi, we would love for you to come back on the show, and let's go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm sure even if you guys came back next week, we would have a different AI to talk about
Mhm.
because as Manuj said, every day it is growing. It's so fast. I mean, it is crazy. And we need to embrace.
Yeah.
Mm.
Any last remarks before we head out, everybody?
Well, I'll just share a couple of stats to encourage people and tell them how big the opportunity is. The CEO of IBM has said that the AI is going to add about $10 trillion to the world economy by
Mm,
2030. So 10 trillion, to put it in perspective, it's more than 10% of the current world GDP. So that's how big the opportunity is. And then if people don't take notice, Peter Diamandis, who's the founder of X Prize, he's a prominent scientist and entrepreneur, and a whole bunch of other people. They have said that by the turn of the decade, there's going to be two types of businesses: one that use AI, and one that are out of business. So, so it's the opportunity is big, but the stakes are high too. So,
mm,
so I just like to share that to put things in perspective for people.
yeah. Do me a favor. If you want to know more about AI, or if you have an amazing business, contact Manoj. I put his website up. Contact him. If you're like, I didn't get his information. I'm not going to put it up on now. You know why? Because I want you to rewatch. I want you to rewatch and catch it. And the same with Naomi. If you are thinking about becoming a guest on a podcast, including this one, reach out to her. She is an expert. So thank you, Juanita. You are the most beautiful in that hat. You know, we love keeping you warm. We love your hat. So thank you so much for being here with us, everybody.
Thank you.
Juanita?
Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. There are things that are coming up in my mind that I'm going to research this weekend. It's all because of this beautiful conversation. Keep making the world a better place. And thank you, Sifu. It was a lovely session. Our guests, you're incredible. And we welcome you back anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
everybody.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.